You know how it's sometimes said that truth is stranger than fiction, or you just can't make some things up? Well, the production methods for the artificial sweetener known as aspartame is just one of these things. I just couldn't believe the information that I came across recently. Well, I mean, we know from the beginning, from the invention of aspartame, which was pushed into legality by the chemical manufacturing company Monsanto. Um, they had a lot of controversy from the start. You know, people are saying it could cause brain tumors. It's untested. It's unhealthy. It's unnatural. You know, the bottom line is we really don't know the long-term side effects of this. But because of all this flack recently, they've decided to change the name from aspartame to AminoSweet, and they call it that because it's made from amino acids. And they actually say that it's a natural sweetener now. That's what they're trying to push on us. They're saying it's natural because the two amino acids that it's made from occur naturally separately. When they put them together and combine them, then it's perfectly natural and safe. I, for one, don't buy that. You could look into yourself. I'm sure most of you already have. You know a pretty good background on it. I'll give a little, just a little snip of a background right here before I get into the good part.
To reassess it, and this time around, FDA should do it right.
Aspartame was discovered in the mid-60s at G.B. Searle, the Chicago drug company. Searle was bought by Monsanto and then was spun off to form the NutraSweet Kelco company. The FDA originally approved aspartame back in 1974, but FDA investigators soon found serious problems in some of the studies that Searle had submitted to the FDA, and so a task force was organized to investigate many of Searle's tests.
There were some very serious deficiencies in the conduct of some of those experiments.
Yeah, that's a subject for another day. But let's look at how this sweetener is actually produced. I couldn't believe this. Now, this is an article on independent.co.uk, 1999. This is one of Britain's leading newspapers. The article is entitled, "World's Top Sweetener is Made with Genetically Modified Bacteria." It says, as the G8 summit of rich country leaders decided last night to launch an inquiry into the safety of genetically modified food, an investigation by the Independent on Sunday revealed that Monsanto, the pioneering GM food giant which makes aspartame, often uses genetically engineered bacteria to produce the sweetener at its U.S. production plants. We have two strains of bacteria. One is traditionally modified and one is genetically modified, said the Monsanto source. It's got a modified enzyme. It has one amino acid different. The use of genetic engineering to make aspartame has stayed secret now until now because there is no modified DNA in the finished product. Monsanto insists that it is completely safe. A Monsanto spokeswoman confirmed that aspartame for the U.S. market is made using genetic engineering, but sweetener supplied to British food producers is not. However, consumer groups say that it's likely that some low-calorie products containing genetically engineered aspartame have been imported into Britain. Increasingly, chemical companies are using genetically engineered bacteria in their manufacturing processes without telling the public. Okay, so I decided to see what this process really entailed. So I looked up a patent and I found out that they're actually using genetically modified E. coli, which is toxic. So they're creating this toxic sludge of genetically modified E. coli with one enzyme different, feeding it some goop, and then the E. coli produces as an excrement. It literally poops out the aspartame, which they extract and use that for the sweetener. So aspartame, this artificial sweetener, is actually made by genetically modified E. coli poop. That's what it is, and that's the cheapest way to make it. So I found this patent. You can look it up. It's EP0036258. That's the patent number. The patent's actually from 1981. So, aspartame became legal in 1980. It was produced using normal chemical means by Monsanto. That's what they do. They're a chemical company. And then, as soon as it got made legal, they just produced these cheaper ways to make it. And this is the cheapest way. So I'll read this. The artificial sweetener aspartame, a dipeptide with the formula ASP-Me, is produced using a cloned microorganism, a DNA which codes for a large stable peptide comprised of repeating amino acid sequence. is inserted into a cloning vehicle, which is in turn produced into a suitable host microorganism. The host microorganism is cultured, and the large peptide containing the repeating sequence is harvested therefrom. The free carboxyl group of the large peptide is benzylated and then hydrolyzed to benzyl from asp dipeptides. The dipeptide is methylated and then debenzylated to form aspartame. Sounds real natural to me, guys. But I came across, like I said, they decided to change their name. They're not even calling it aspartame anymore. They just think we're stupid. They're calling it AminoSweet, a natural sweetener. But I was thinking about this, and it just didn't sit right to me. This sweetener that they put in soda pop is produced by some bacteria's poop. And I was thinking, and then something clicked in my head. I've seen this before. I was watching an episode of Futurama, and this just hit too close to home. Watch this clip. The secret ingredient, alright. And as you guys can remember, this was the episode where he won the golden ticket like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and they got the free trip out to the Slurm factory, which is his favorite drink, and they snuck into the secret room and found out the secret ingredient it was actually Slug's poop. So I'm thinking, how does he know all this? Well, it's pretty obvious that Matt Groening is a 33rd degree Freemason. Just look at this image. It's a screenshot from one of the new episodes. It was last year, season 20, episode 13, I believe. I mean that's kind of obvious, but look at some of these other clips from Simpsons episodes over the years. This one's 1993.
They're all covered with filthy germs, aren't they, Smithers?
Why, what do you mean, sir?
Freemasons run the country!
Ooh, wrong again.
Freemasons run the country! Pimps in the chuds. Oh, I'd love to see New York. We could all go with the bus company's special Super Sitter Fair. $5? This one's on me. Great!
That was 1997, predicted 9/11. He just threw it in there. He had this knowledge. He's full of all kinds of knowledge. Freemasons rule the world, predicted 9/11. Obviously, he has knowledge of Freemasonry when he made that episode called The Stonecutters. Look that one up, Stonecutters on YouTube. In that actual Latin, it says something like, "Be stupid, sit down, take orders." Check out the Barbie doll. Look at her head. You see, things like this, they're no accident. Matt Groening is a 33rd degree Freemason illuminated member. He's told knowledge in advance and uses his knowledge that he has, like the aspartame being made from genetically modified bacteria poop. He uses that to either make fun of the public or to indoctrinate the public. And the new Simpsons movie was full of these signals. Just look for Simpsons movie Illuminati. You'll find a whole myriad of things you couldn't possibly imagine.